The first thing is, if you're going to watch this whole video, I credit you for your determination. The second thing is, I'm basking in my glory because I actually started working trees again. I did, wasn't like an 8-hour day. I think I was squirreling around in a grouping of trees, maybe a total of 4 hours yesterday. And I feel good, I feel powerful. Now I want to also compliment this MS-17D is a competent climb saw. And I'm actually able to, I did some one-handed cuts, with it, which, whatever. I had my safety gear on, I had my camouflage shorts, and my primitive archer hat. Do as I say, not as I do. I mean, wear proper safety gear. I've been squirreling around for many a year, so I feel, pretty confident in my ability to climb in shorts and whatever, no helmet. And I always seem to manage to make it down the tree. My only injury in the years of being a squirrel with a chainsaw is 10 stitches in my left knee. Imagine that. I'm so used to foot locking. It was a takedown and I had spurs on. I know, right? And just out of habit, I started foot locking with spurs and dug my right spur into my left knee. Finished the job, but boy, that was stupid. Anyway, this is actually a really competent little climb saw. And would I say if I was actually an absolute professional tree climber like I used to be back in bygone days, would I choose this? It's like, hey, I climbed many years with the basic old Echo, the small climb saw they had, and that thing lasted for years, and it served me well. What I liked was its reliability. It didn't have the power of my boss's Huskies, climb saw. All my other saws are Husqvarnas. But you know what? Why not? This would make a decent climb saw. One thing I would note was I had an employee, actually. Not an employee of tree cutting, but an employee of the preserve. So I'm not going to climb with the saw. I used it in the tree, but I didn't climb with it. Got up there, right? And then I taught her how to do a figure eight knot in my climb line. And then explained how you slide this thing through the figure eight, and then you just hook it to this ring. And it was quite a chore, because she was trying to hook this to the climb line, and then I don't know what she was doing down there, but finally I got her to figure out how to just slide this through. Just take that dog snap and stick it through the figure eight, and then clip the dog snap to the ring, And it really solidified, my theory is that there's a lot of climbing, how to climb, SRT, DRT, split tails, closed systems, all this other stuff, using all the fancy gears and the centers and stuff. And it's not just climbing. Anyone could go to a video and learn how to, with the rope, in a safe crotch or over a safe branch or whatever, be able to get up the tree. But that's only a part of it. A big portion of it is knowing, is that a safe connection up there? What are the risks with this tree? Risk assessment. How do you rig? How do you cut? How can you take a branch off and either get it just to fall straight down like that, tip down, or have it click and then come butt down? How do you cut that branch so it'll swing this way and then fall, or swing this way and fall? How do you rig the top? How far up can you climb the tree before you rig the top? And goes through a block and the bull line and then through the porter wrap or whatever. It's not just being able to climb the tree. I do not believe that you can become a competent tree worker with all the skills and knowledge necessary to start taking down trees by watching YouTube videos. Yes, I had the benefit of learning from an expert kind of guy. And knowing everything beyond just climbing. How to get up and down and not die. I actually have a section of an oak tree, the last dead oak that I did, in the living room, is part of an end table. Picture this. climbing up the oak tree, taking branches down. And I don't take all the branches off the tree. When I'm going to take down a tree, you know, and then take the top out and work my way down, doing snap cuts. You know that from YouTube videos. Where was I going with this? Anyway, so I go up this oak tree, and I knew it was dead and had some hollow in it and stuff like that, but went up there, did the face cut, rigged it. No, actually it was just kind of a cut and drop. It was in just this wide area. Did the face cut, did the back cut, and then pushed on it. And there was no movement. There was no reasonable reason, no factoid of reality that should have kept that top from just falling. There's no, I did a deep face cut, you know, and then a kind of a shallowish back cut because I just wanted it to tip over, you know, with just a push. Didn't have any wedges to drive in there, but it should have worked out. Nothing happened. It was like it was attached with iron. And so I did what you're not supposed to do, but sometimes you do what you're not supposed to do, and I climbed down very gently because I didn't want that top to come down on me. Cleared myself, took my throw bag and my big shot, shot a line over the tippy top of that top. And all it took, I didn't even need to put a rope over there. I took my throw bag line, the slick line, and that top came down, and the impulse on the bowl, that's what you call just a bare trunk. The whole thing came down like a controlled demolition. I mean, the trunk was no trunk anymore. When that top went like this and pushed against the trunk, it just came apart like bark and sawdust. I mean, the whole thing was hollow all the way out. And if I had been able to knock that trunk over when I was in that tree, I would not be making this video. See, there's more than just getting up a tree. There's risk assessment. And in that case, you know, I took did a bore cut into the base. That's something that I've never heard in a video. And went up a little bit and did another bore cut it was not a solid tree, but I've never seen that before. The whole trunk. And I was able to take a couple sections about this big of that trunk where it was somewhat solid, and I brought it home and put a glass top on it so I can stare at that thing, and that shows me, you know, that hollow section of trunk, how dangerous tree work is. And from then on, you know, I was, how old was I then? Maybe 52, 53. It's like, I'm not going to go out and do these dead takedowns anymore like that. All I'm going to be basically doing is, you know, trimming on live trees, and if I'm going to do a takedown, which I'm preparing to now, it's a blue spruce. It's still kind of alive, but it needs to be taken down, and I doubt, you know, I say now, I doubt that, you know, it's like that oak, but I'll do a couple bore cuts in it just to test it on the way up. Man, people that think that they can just learn taking down trees and stuff like that from YouTube videos, just being able to climb is only the first step. It's the smallest step. It's the unrecognizable step. Knowing how to operate one of these things up in a tree and then recognizing the potential dangers, all the tricks of saving yourself. For example, I'm a split tail climber. I can do secured footlock, you know, but think about this. You zip up the tree faster than if you're going up in a split tail, DRT, double rope technique. But then, you know, you might have saved a minute. But a lot of the time is going up there and thinking and being careful and doing all your cuts and all that stuff. So saving a minute here or there, if it's even a minute, you know, doing SRT or rope walking or whatever to get up there into a tree that you're squirreling around in, it's a very small portion of time. I feel secure doing double rope technique, and I footlock on the fall. I don't use ascenders. You know, I like to climb away from the trunk so I don't have to hip thrust or body thrust. To me, that's just not fun. I like using my feet to grab that rope and squirrel my way up. It's like all about safety. I say as My safety gear was a baseball cap and shorts. Even forgot to use my gloves on all these climbs. Which, you know, I guess the big risk to that is like you get blisters and stuff pulling on the rope. Anyway, yes, this is a competent little climb saw. So I'm looking through my toy catalog here, Bartlett. I need to get a Cheryl one. I'm looking to do like that takedown, taking the top down and, you know, squirreling my way down. And you don't hear this on videos either. You're climbing a tree on spurs. I've got Buckinghams. I should have bought geckos or some more comfortable kind. My Buckinghams hurt. Don't like climbing on spurs. Plus my boots are soft because footlock. You get up there and you've got a tree with branches going down here. When I take the top off of a tree, when I'm doing that stuff, I don't take all the branches off the tree because they act like sails. You know, you get this thing when the top comes down, it's like the tree worker's convertible, take the top off and go for a ride. You're a little safer if you've got shock absorbers, a few branches on the way up. You know, you leave, and then when you're working your way down, you take all the branches off. But I'm looking at this. This is cool. The little big rig kit. Now, it comes with a medium porter wrap. It comes with a, I don't have my glasses on, 5/8 inch bowl line, which is plenty strong for anything I'm going to do. But it actually has like a ring instead of a block. You know, a lot of the money comes in the form of the block up at the top of the tree. And it's like, wow, $5.25. I could afford that, especially if I'm going to do some, you know, going around houses and houses and houses and doing like lower level tree work. You know, figure it. Like a house like this behind me, bunch of trees around it, and they're not big takedowns. You could get by without a bucket truck climbing it and stuff. But you have a tree service come in, and they've got the employees, they've got the bucket truck, they have a greater outlay of expense there. But there's probably a million little jobs where a homeowner wants, well, I've got 2 dead branches on this relatively healthy tree, and I don't want to spend $600 or whatever to get a bucket truck down here. Can you do it for $200? See where I'm going with this? There's a ton of jobs. You just have to pick your niche. I'm not going to be taking down this 140-foot oak tree over a house in somebody's Porsche. I'm just going to go squirreling around this house and just clear the branches like I did to get more light to the shingles on the roof. Multiple trees all the way around. Very small climbing jobs with only one takedown of that blue spruce, which I don't need to do. I could certainly call in a tree service, but I like doing it. I love climbing, even if it's on spurs. Yeah, I always thought the master arborist that I worked for, we basically started out in life. He had the skill sets, he had climbing experience, he had, basically he called it Old Red. It was just a half-ton pickup truck with particle board box on the back, you know, for hauling stuff, brush, in a trailer. And me, the climber. He was the ground man, I was the climber. You know, and then he bought a wood chipper, you know, a brush banded. I think it was like a 6-inch brush banded or something. It wasn't a big one. And increased his thing. And then at that point, you know, he is making a pretty good living. One employee, me the climber, a pickup truck, a brush bandit. And I would think when he's calculating like his earned income, you know, he's doing all right. But of course now he's got like, I don't know, $1.5 million worth of equipment and a full staff and stuff like that. But I had the benefit of working for that guy who is now going to school to get his PhD because he wants to be a professor. You know, he's very cerebral, very, you know, learned in his craft. We used to stop and watch other tree services do stuff, and it's like we would analyze where they're making mistakes, and it's like, oh my gosh, I'm surprised that they don't kill a worker a day because they're not trained. They were basically just people that maybe watched YouTube videos and picked some stuff up, and now, you know, they're out cutting trees in dangerous ways. It's one thing I have against people just, I learned how to climb a tree and now I can take down trees. Hopefully you see where I'm going with this. There's nothing that can make up for not having an experienced climber and an experienced rigger and an experienced person with a chainsaw that can teach you all the doing on a leaner, you know, doing that bore cut and having a face cut and a trigger not in that order, you know, so you're not going to get a, what do you call that weird split? It's like a, I'm blanking right now, like a chair or something like that, whatever. You know, how do you handle dangerous situations? How do you do this or that without getting killed? You know, you're not going to pick that up on a YouTube video because there's so many little tiny things, including innovation, that you learn on the job with somebody that's experienced that knows what the hell they're doing. Maybe I'll do that. I've trained climbers before. Maybe I'll work for a tree service as the old guy that will help you like survive the day. You know, I don't know. Anyway, this was kind of a distraction from, yeah, I got trapped into watching some news on YouTube, and it's insane. It's like before every election, you know, what kind of chaos are we going to cause so we can stay in power? You know, at risk to your own nation. How people can risk their own nation just for money and power is beyond me. That's why I would never be able to get elected, because I'm too honest. I take things seriously. I take ethics in government seriously, and it's like, we don't need people like that. We need crooked, weird people that are able to convince people that like up is down and down is up, and that's all. And I give you credit if you watch this whole video. I don't know what the point in this is. I'm just some other guy putting his unasked for viewpoints on the internet. At least I'm self-aware in that way. Learn from somebody that knows what they're doing, one-to-one.